Hi, Dave Johnson here, and I would like to talk about something very important, health, or the lack of it. And Hippocrates mentioned that illnesses do not come upon us out of the blue. They are developed from small daily sins against nature. And when enough sins have accumulated, illnesses will suddenly appear. One of the big root causes of almost all diseases, and when I think of disease, I think it's really important when we break that up and talk about not at ease, dis-ease, not at ease. Inflammation seems like the big bugaboo, and arguably it is a component of just about all the bad stuff. When you really think about inflammation, it is a vital component of healing. It's also part of your body's ability to fight infection. And the big thing is runaway inflammation. And so here's some thoughts right here. In the past few years, the root cause of many health issues has been attributed to chronic inflammation. There have been studies suggesting that many of the complaints and diseases we as a culture have seen a rapid rise in. Think about this. If you've been around very long, if you've heard of the name of some of these diseases, if at all, it was more rare, but today we're hearing of them more commonly and earlier on to people. So a bigger part of the population has a chronic problem, and it's happening at an earlier age. Also alarming is for the first time, the average lifespan is actually going backwards. So something is awry. And what we'd like to talk about specifically is reconnect to the earth. And this feels so good. We've probably all experienced just taking our bare feet onto grass or walking along on the beach, moist sand, or in the water a little bit. And one of the things I think is really fascinating, and let's just go a little poetic here. Forget not that the earth delights to fill your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair. But there's actually some science, and probably the best way to get into this is a very popular book called Earthing, the most important health discovery ever, Earthing. And this is a kind of a fun thought right here, earthing therapy. How on earth can that be? And in this book, it talks about discover whether earthing therapy is the perfect anti-inflammatory and antioxidant for people recovering from inflammatory diseases. A foreword to this book written by a brilliant scientist. This is something that he talks about here. The role of electrons in biological health has long been my favorite subject. And I say that without equivocation as an experienced academic cell biologist and a biophysicist who has published dozens of articles in some of the world's leading scientific journals. The research in this book puts forward a powerful explanation for the proliferation of inflammation and, most importantly, what we can do about it. This is a big deal here. Okay, what is earthing? Now, earthing naturally protects the body's delicate bioelectrical circuitry against static electrical charges and interference. And most importantly, it facilitates the reception of free electrons and the stabilizing electrical signals and energy of the earth. Earthing remedies an electrical instability and electron deficiency you never knew you had. It refills and recharges your body with something you never knew you were missing or needed. Maybe just to elaborate on this, in the book, it talks about television and using long cables with high content, lots of information going through video and audio, that over long areas, the cable, a lot of interference was able to get into this and make the signal less fidelity. And they found by grounding those cables, it stabilized that and eliminated all of the spurious interference. Could that be the same thing with our body's information systems? Very, very interesting. Here's just another little poetry here. Now I see the secret of making of the best persons. It is to grow in the open air and to eat and sleep with the earth. Well, from time immemorial, we had a direct connection with the earth. We would sleep on the earth. And when we walked, up until about 50 years ago, even when we used shoes, they were made out of leather and other natural materials. And as you would perspire, that would make it highly conductive, and we were always connected to the earth. Now, the significance of earthing is that the earth is actually a vast reservoir of limitless free electrons, and they openly flow into the body. And we'll get into some details about that. But essentially what they do is these free electrons quench the free radicals. Free radicals or oxidizing atoms, they're missing electrons. And so here's something that I just found on Amazon. You can get pads and stuff that can bring that in. And this is kind of a fun description. He says, I feel weird writing this, but grounding works. It really does. But I feel awkward telling people about it. They look at you like you've lost your mind. How can connecting with the earth heal your body? It sounds too simple, too easy, too good to be true. But I have to tell you, it works to reduce your inflammation, which is what causes so much of my pain. My osteoarthritis pain has diminished substantially. My gums are less swollen, as noticed by my dentist, and I heal very quickly from minor injuries. I know this sounds stupid, and I can't help how it sounds, but if you are in pain, you have nothing to lose. It doesn't require health insurance, a prescription from a doctor, or any difficult treatments. Just connect with the earth, and it will provide energy to heal you. Get over your embarrassment and give it a try. You won't regret it. And there's really no real embarrassment. Just if you're in the park or if you're mowing your lawn, take your shoes off. Do it barefoot. And so that's kind of a fun thought right there. Again, earthing allows a transfer of negatively charged electrons from the Earth's surface into your body. And these electrons neutralize positively charged free radicals that cause chronic inflammation. The moment your foot touches the earth or you connect to the earth through a wire, your physiology changes and immediate normalization begins, and an anti-inflammatory switch is turned on. People stay inflamed because they never connect with the earth, the source of free electrons, which can neutralize the free radicals in your body that cause disease and cellular destruction. Earthing is the easiest and most profound lifestyle change anybody can make. This is, again, a quote from that book, Earthing. So, wow, everything to gain, all upside, no downside whatsoever. This is really cool. Now, here's some thoughts right here. This is doing a little research on the internet. Here's a presentation. Earthing as an antioxidant. And you see a little cartoon with this swarm of free electrons coming into the body from the earth. And there is an atom that's missing an electron. And that reminds me of a silly joke. One atom is talking to the other and says, I think I've lost an electron. And the other atom says, are you sure? And the first atom says, yes, I'm positive. And that would be what happens when you lose an electron, if you're missing. And a lot of atoms are just kind of naturally missing one of those. And having free electrons from the earth come in transfers all of those in, and they satisfy, that fills in those gaps and neutralizes, makes those atoms electrically neutral. Because if you're an atom and you're hungry for an electron, you might steal it from another atom, which makes this kind of chain reaction going down, messing them up. An ionized cell will die. In fact, that's part of the immune system's response, is the immune system creates free radicals to go out there and do that to bacteria and viruses, is to create free radicals to kill them. And now, if we could just keep free radicals inside the bacteria, or healing a wound or something like that, that would be great. But when it gets overrun and out of control, that's when chronic problems happen. But here's something that I think is really interesting. By the introduction of adding those on, the blue is with earthing, the red were a study with people with sham earthing. These are grounding pads. The red, they were unplugged, but they didn't know it. The blue, they were plugged in, so the same pad. And just as far as the pain scale, you can see over time a dramatic difference. And then also white blood cells. What's really cool is the blue, you see not a lot of extra blood cells to compensate, to help undo the inflammation. And so the blue, the ones that were earthed, it just worked really good on fixing that. So pretty cool stuff right there. So here's just some proof positive. So these are the things that are reported with people that are doing earthing: improved mood, better sleep, reduced pain, better stress coping, faster wound healing, better immune function, and did we say reduced inflammation? This is all big deal stuff, huge benefits. And EMF, just like any toxin, can accumulate within the body. When we hear about all of this electromagnetic pollution out there that's building up, this can have a chronic problem. And if we can get grounded, so we're not just this antenna out there, this could be a huge proponent. Just having grounding to help take that away from us. Sitting in front of a computer, many people, that's their whole job, and creating themselves as an antenna by insulating themselves from the earth. If you ever look at a radio tower, transmission antennas, they have big insulators so that they can transmit. And same thing with receiving antennas. We don't want our body to be a receiving antenna. And so here's just a picture of a chair with plastic wheels on a plastic skid pad. Wow, we're insulated. Why not bring a grounding pad in and take your shoes off while you're working? That could make a big difference, because taken from that book, physical disconnect with the earth creates abnormal physiology and contributes to inflammation, pain, fatigue, stress, poor sleep. By reconnecting to the earth, symptoms are rapidly relieved and even eliminated. And recovery from surgery, injury, athletic overexertion can be accelerated. This is huge. Now, the thing that's really fun is you can go outside, lay on the grass, go to the beach and take your shoes off, or all modern electrically equipped offices, homes, everything, you'll see an outlet that has 3 prongs. And when I see that, I can't help but seeing a face. The 2 slots are the eyes, and the big round hole is the mouth. And just to kind of give you a little electrical stuff, if you don't know, the small eye, the small slot, is what they call the hot. That's where the electricity is. The bigger one is the return, and that's electrically neutral. And the one on the bottom, the round one, that's the one we're interested in, because that wire hooked to that goes to the electrical box, and then to a wire that goes outside to a big metal stake in the ground, like this right here. And the stake is typically 6, even 8 feet deep. And so this is a way to conveniently, wherever there's an outlet, to actually be connected to the earth. And so the electrons, the extra ones of the earth, will travel in there and fix things. Now, here's something. My chiropractor, he does some dark field microscopy. And just an aside, we found that wearing insoles, also drinking Nikken Pi-Mag water, but also earthing, can have this effect of having your blood cells not be clumped, but decouple. That's a really cool thing right here. But this study right here is taking specifically with before and after grounding. On the left, before; on the right, after. And you can just see physiologically, health-wise, things are going to work better if your blood cells are not all clumped up. Here's something I took from YouTube on grounding. And part of this right here was talking about an ophthalmologist that got into grounding. And he had a patient come in that was diabetic. And of course, that's one of the big reasons why people lose their vision or their toes or different things like that, is it impairs circulation. And actually, with a photo of the retina, looking at the blood vessels, well, he asked a patient if he would volunteer for just a little experiment. And so the one on the left, he took a picture of the patient's retina, and you could see the blood vessels there. And then he asked him if he would just stay in the waiting room and be on a grounding pad for a couple of hours, took the picture again. And I'm not any doctor or expert, but just proof positive, there's a picture. You can see more circulation. That sounds like a good thing. Wow. And so this is from PubMed. This is something I think is really interesting. Just read this real quick. The effects of grounding on inflammation, the immune response, wound healing, prevention and treatment of chronic inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. Wow, that's a positive thing. Research has revealed that electrically conductive contact of the human body with the surface of the earth produces intriguing effects on physiology and health. Such effects relate to inflammation, immune response, wound healing. This is big deal stuff. Wow. Grounding reduces or even prevents the cardinal signs of inflammation. Wow. Reading this, I just think, wow, what a convenient way to change your life forever. Just get connected to the earth. We have a product. This is a nylon, and I don't know of anyone who's allergic to nylon. It's something that's been around a long time, very durable. And what this is 20% elemental silver spattered onto nylon fabric. And so you have something very durable that's highly conductive, and it's about 3 feet by 20 inches. So it's a pretty good sized pad. And, you know, having this, just me personally, I plug this in, put my hands palm down on it on my lap. Don't notice anything. And then in less than a minute, I can actually feel something going on in my hands. Maybe try that yourself. I've got one dedicated just for my bed. And so my bare feet are on that every night as I'm sleeping. I think that's perhaps the best way to do it, because we got long sustained contact with the earth while we're sleeping conveniently. And that's where our body heals and recovers as during sleep. And so what a convenient way to bring the benefits of grounding indoors. Ask yourself if what you're doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. Thanks.